Wonderful. And then I'm just going to announce that we are going over to the end of the book. It is The September House from Carissa Orlando, picked by Tiff, which was, there's Stephanie, which was a wonderful choice, unexpectedly good, really awesome. And then did you guys want to know to start off? Hi, Stephanie. Good evening. Your hair looks so pretty and bright green. It's so deep this time. I love it.
Thank you.
And so did you want me to announce the next book now, or do you want to wait till the end? Or do you guys already know what it is from the poll? No? Nobody knows? Okay, so the next book is going to be it's by Sarah Penner and it's the Lost Apothecary. Am I saying that right? Apothecary. That's right, right? Yeah. And that's the one you guys voted on. And it just was a smidge ahead of Emily's choice, which was about Dracula. So I'm really, really curious. Oh, we got lots of people coming in. Okay. Hello, party people. This is fun. You skip a week and everybody can. Hi, guys. Hello. Okay, so we are going to follow Tiff and Aaron's rule here on if you want to answer, you can. You don't have to if you don't want to, because we got a full house. So welcome everyone. So that is, if anybody missed it, the new book's going to be The Lost Apothecary, and then of course I'll post this for us in the on our page. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty. So there is lots of things that I just wanted to give a tiny itty bitty trigger warning. You know, I always do this in case somebody random is viewing from Aaron's TikTok or from the Facebook page or from Good Evening, Jameson. It is so good to see you back. I love that smile. Thank you so much for coming. Um, it's been so long since you've been here, so I'm just so happy you're here. Um, so totally lost my train of thought because Jameson is just my celebrity crush. I'm sorry. Here we go. um, so guys, where was I going? Oh, I know where we were headed. The trigger warnings, seriousness. There's a lot of mental illness in this. And there's, or at least a reflection of possible mental illness, alcoholism, and paranormal. Just in case anybody stumbles upon this and is curious, just want to give them a little heads up. First thing I'd like to ask is if anybody, oh, Patty. Hi, Patty. Welcome, Patty. It's so great to see that you're here. You guys, I think this might be the most people we've ever had. This is so cool. Good evening.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Um, so I was just giving them the trigger warnings for this. It was a little hard on some people who have had parents who have alcoholism, any kind of Al-Anon person, maybe suffers with mental illness, or has had a really bad experience with the paranormal. This would probably be a book that maybe they would want to read with caution. Other than that, I wanted to start with any kind of like awesome quotes that you pulled from this side. And then we'll just go in alphabetic order, starting with Aaron. If you have one, let me know. Okay. How about you, Beans? Did you have anything that really stood out to you as far as a quote or a theme or something you want to add?
No, I don't have any quotes this time.
How about you, Emily? Are you available? She may have had to go check on a chicken.
Sorry,
Oh, there you
sorry.
are.
I had to take a phone call real quick, so I had to stick myself out. So I did not hear where we are. I apologize.
No, no, you're totally fine. It's just I was asking if you had any quotes or any things that you thought were really significant in the second half that you wanted to share.
Well, I missed the first one, so I didn't get to discuss any of that. So I apologize if there's any kind of like overlap. Um, but I really felt that the book overall was very what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, Amityville horror meets The Shining. Uh,
Mhm.
so that just underlying theme of like the constant negativity within a space grows and grows. So kind of it made me think of that we are the environment that we cultivate to
Okay.
grow.
That
So
was a very, 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 very good point. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I definitely felt that toward the end of the book more so than in the beginning. Definitely. Jameson, did you have any quotes or any type of theme that was like really on point for you or hit you powerfully?
There were a couple quotes that I liked, and I don't know if they were strictly from this half, or I can't remember now since I missed the last one. Um, but she said, "It's a funny thing about being alone. You never really notice when it's happening. You're aware that nobody else is there, but you're so busy with yourself and the little things that you do to occupy your time, the painting, the housework, and the occasional errand." And then the other one was, oh, it's right here. Oh, now I can't find it. I had it written down, and it's when she talks about the thing that she tells her husband, the thing that she loves about horror movies is that they bring to the surface what we're really afraid of, and it's not usually demons or the supernatural, but what we're really afraid of. And I can't remember exactly how she said that, but I really liked that.
I do
Um,
too. I do too. I think that part of it kind of like I think there was some symbolism and metaphor in the book a little bit. And like the way she kind of exercised the house kind of made me feel like that was like part of her getting rid of like her demons from the past. So I thought that's kind of like a theme and a layer that I noticed too. How about you, Leah? Did you have anything that you'd like to share that really struck you? Okay.
I don't
Um,
think so. I think Emmy Lee did. That was
Yes,
good.
that was on point. That was really on point. Beans, are you in here twice under Leslie and Beansy?
Nope, I don't have an iPhone and I
Do we
don't go
have a
by
Leslie
Leslie,
in
so
here? Oh, we're too. Okay. Hi, Leslie.
hi.
Oh, well, welcome.
thank you.
I'm so glad that you're here. Did you want to share any quotes or anything about the books that stood out to you and the second part of it?
I read the book about a year ago, so I'm kind of rusty on what happened. But I do remember I was proud of Margaret that she kind of grew as a character. She was kind of little okay, little Miss Agreeable, and then at the end she was like, "This is my house, and I'm taking it back."
I loved that. I loved how strong she got. Yes. I feel like that was her resolution in herself too. And I think it took fighting for her daughter to get her there. I love that. I love that. How about you, Melissa?
No, I don't have anything to add that hasn't already been said.
Sure. And Robin?
I was just gonna say that it's kind of like the similar to what is it Leslie just said, like where she was so agreeable, and she was like, these are the rules until it came to Catherine. And that was like with Hal, and then again with the house. And it was like it's that like mom thing.
Yes, absolutely. Um, I feel like she spent her whole life trying to protect her daughter from what she went through, and I think it just erupted at the end. Stephanie, how about you? I know you loved this book. I know you gave it a big old five, so I'm curious if you had anything that you tabbed or wanted to share.
So yeah, I did on page 194, and it was when basically Catherine was talking to Margaret about him, her taking her dad back, and she said, "I had changed little by little steadily over the years until by all accounts I was a person who should have been unrecognizable, but to me was just who I was. I ought to have been a stranger to myself, but it didn't bother me at all."
Love
And that
that.
is true with having a family member that's an alcoholic. It is true. And you don't recognize yourself because of all the abuse that you went through, whether it's verbal, physical, emotional. Um, and then I have a second one. I just have to figure out what that one where that one was. Page 198. Sorry, this is a long one.
No, it's okay.
Okay, and this one has to do with the same theme. And she's basically saying she never knew how long the good times would last, sometimes a few days, sometimes a few months. So it was best to enjoy the moments when they were around and not to worry about the future. When they lasted a while, it was almost enough to make me think I'd solved it, that I'd finally figured out the right combination of behaviors to keep everything happy, blissful. Of course, nothing lasts forever. That's just the cyclical nature of it all. However, if the rules were followed, the good times could last longer. That really hit me hard too. That whole section of the book hit me hard because of having, an alcoholic in my life. So that's what hit me. And I'm proud of Margaret for sticking through everything and taking back her house.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think as somebody who's gone to Al-Anon, the way that she keeps repeating, there are ways to handle this. There are rules you must follow. When you are dealing with somebody like that and their moods are so unsteady, you never know what's coming. You do find yourself living in these certain specific ways you have to behave not to set that person off. I felt was really relatable, and the way that she attributed her house and the way that she dealt with Hal the whole time. That's why it was easy for her to adapt there. She had already been walking on eggshells for a really long time. Tara, how about you?
I don't have anything. I think everybody's pretty much covered it so far.
Tiff? I love the background. It's usually the guitar. We're in a new spot this time.
Yeah, this is my office space, so I'm a big Crew fan. So
Yeah, I
that's
love
all the
it.
fun stuff there. Um, Gosh, you guys like shared all the quotes that I had ready to go. And I was like, dang, cross that one off, cross that one off. Those were all really good quotes. I just thought, just a general observation that I really thought about at the end of the book. We talk about like the Me Too movement for women that have experienced abuse and stuff like that. And I really felt like that moment, it was like that moment when everybody like saw the ghosts and stuff like that. It was like she was just like, everybody believes me finally. You know what I mean? And like it almost like got her to be like, okay, I can fight back now because like people believe me and it's not just me that's seeing this going on.
Right, right. What's so sad is that we encourage women to speak out about these things that it's so rarely believed. It's like you need so much proof it's just, I totally get that. I really think there was a lot of symbolism here and so many different metaphors. How about you, Victoria? She might not be available. There you are. Hi.
I'm here. I don't have anything new to share. I feel like you guys all kind of
Oh,
capitulated on what I picked up on as well.
all right. All right. Well, so Stephanie, I didn't get to say that you're the one that chose the last apocalypse theory that everybody voted on. So this is going to be a word that I struggle saying all the good guys. Life is just not lifing for me right now. Here we go. Okay, there we go. But this is the one that you picked that we all voted on, and so you finally got your chance. So I wanted to make sure I did see that that was you that won, and then I wanted to share one that I love so much from Frederica. She said, "We all deserve more than what we are given, so much more." I think a lot of times we like accept the love we think we deserve. And I think we adjust to it. I think we don't expect more because that's all we've had. So I really, really liked Frederica a lot. Um, so she probably was my favorite character. Anyway, I wanted to go back and ask you guys now, and I asked you last time. I'm so sorry, the light is just too much. I wanted to ask you guys again. I asked you what your Udi's here. What your favorite character was at the time when we first started reading the second half, and everything changed so much. Um, oh my God, that's where you just said the quote, Billy. I just finished. Perks of being a wild. We always have some kind of weird witchy woo thing going on. We're very connected to. So, anyway, did your favorite character change at all? And if it did, you can tell me. And if not, that's okay. And this time was, hi, Udi, welcome. Hi, pretty girl. Did you want to share if it changed? And if it didn't, that's cool. And we'll start back with Victoria.
Still love Dee Dee all the way through. But no, I feel like I'm with you on the Margaret stuff, y'all. Very, very proud of her. Just yeah, I am this book I'm like shooketh at how it went because it was not necessarily what I expected. So
Yeah. Tiff, did yours change?
I don't I don't feel like it changed. Like I was really on board like the Catherine train. I think just because I saw so much of like myself in her, like that breaking generational cycles and how, sometimes we come off as bitchy and mean, but it's really because we harbor a lot of stuff. But then like I think at the end, like watching her just be like, I'm not sure how to handle this. Like, I think there's something really wrong with my mom. And like, I just felt like she handled that in a way that like, I don't know. She was like, I felt like she handled it in a way that was like, this is what I'm going to do because I almost felt like she needed that at one time too.
I get that feeling a lot too sometimes. People get annoyed with me because I refuse to settle for the same crap all the time. And my family's like, can you just try to get along? And it's like, no, enough's enough. We're not going to tiptoe around the drunk of the family. We're just not doing this anymore. But you do come off bitchy. You just can't, those things are hard to say. How about you, Tara? Did you have anybody that you related to more this time once you got to finish it?
I think I switched from Edie to Margaret, just her finally stepping up and taking what she deserves.
Okay. Yeah. She really was vindicated. I was really worried about old girl there for a minute, but she really came out as a hero more so than I thought she would. How about you, Stephanie?
Sorry, what was the question again? I didn't get to
That's
hear.
okay. Did your favorite character change at all, or did it stay the same?
I'm trying to remember who I said my favorite character was. I think it might have been Catherine.
It was.
And I I think I think I liked Margaret a lot more once I realized what she was about. And of course I like Catherine more, but I wish she wouldn't have been so judgmental with her mom and she would have actually believed her. But I guess in the end she was vindicated when they could see everything and when they all started turning into dried up spiders basically. And then they told everybody, they told Master Vale to get out, and that was pretty, that was a great moment. I was proud of all the people for standing up for that.
I wish she would have had a little bit more. I can understand her irritation, but I wish she had had a little bit more compassion, thinking like your mom's been a battered woman for so many years, you know? So I did get a little irritated, but I get where it was coming from. So yeah. Robin, how about you? Did your favorite character change?
Sorry. Okay. I'm also trying to remember who I said.
I think it was Margaret.
I
No, no,
think,
no. I think it was Catherine.
oh, was it? Okay. I was like, yeah. So I also really liked Edie towards the
Mhm.
end. So I wasn't like that fussed about her at first. And then like the more like once you find out, I was like, oh, I did really like, I just liked the fact that she never told Margaret, like, she was like, I'm just here for you, like, whatever you need. And like, I don't need you to, I don't need you to know that I'm also, but I did also like Catherine. And I think especially when she, like, so I think Stephanie had a quote that was like right before or after, but where she was saying, like, you can change, mom. Like, you're saying you can't change people, but she's like, you can change. You can change yourself. Um, that made me like kind of, oh yeah, I do really like her. So
I do too. And I think we all knew on our last meeting that she might not be real, that Edie
yeah,
wasn't. I think
yeah,
we all kind of had the suspicion, but the fact that she was outside of the house made me wonder. But yeah, it was, I was sad. I cried when Margaret realized she was like her, it was like her best friend and just not, I was sad. It was sad. But I loved her.
yeah. Well, it was like when she realizes, like, wait, she's a neighbor, but I don't have any neighbors. Like when she was like, and then you're like, oh, that's right.
Yeah, I know. I didn't get that. It didn't click for me until almost till the very end. How about you, Udi? Did you change at all on your favorite character, or did your viewpoint on somebody change?
Who was my favorite character? Was it Margaret?
Yes, Margaret was your favorite.
She's still my favorite. Honestly, when they thought that, when they were like, "No, you're making it up," like you got some mental illness and stuff like that, and then when they finally could see them, oh my God! Right then and there, my husband looked at me because I was like, "Yes, she's not fucking crazy. She's not," you know. And right then and there, it sealed the deal. Like I was just like, dude, if she really turned out to be like mentally ill and stuff like that, and all the shit that she went through, on top of that, if this stuff isn't real, oh, I was gonna lose it. But when she was like, and then they started turning, like someone said they started turning into like burnt up spiders. Yes, I was like, yes, get him, Mr. Bale.
Right, right.
And then when Edie turned out to be a ghost, I was just like, okay, my theory did kind of come true. Everybody is a part of that. And that broke my heart because that was like, but then again, she's going to be with her forever now. So it was kind of like I don't know what's the word to say, what I'm
it
trying
will
to say.
be it will be nice to have her available to her all the time
Yes,
in the way for it'll be a change. It'll be more constant instead of having to
exactly.
pretend, you know.
Yes, and like everybody, she had to get rid of everybody. Like now she doesn't have to. Like she's there for her. It
I
made me
agree.
very happy.
I agree. How about you, Melissa? Did yours stay the same? Did your perspective change on anybody?
Mine stayed the same. Mine were both Edie and Elias. And I feel like
Really?
Elias was kind of like the comic relief that we needed, even though he was a little aggressive. Um, but then Edie, yes, definitely. I mean, she knew that she needed a friend and didn't want to disclose her being a ghost until she was ready to hear that, which I think is just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Leslie?
Um, Catherine, I softened for Catherine after she got to the house and they started looking for Hal. But I did not like her at the beginning. I just like, seriously, go help your mother.
Yes.
But yeah, Margaret was my favorite, of course.
Oh, yes. I felt the same way. At first, I was like, oh, she's mean. But then as I realized her past and her dad, I got it,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
How
yeah.
about you, Leah?
I don't know if I have a favorite character. I wasn't here for the first one, so I didn't pick one. I'm still like I read it all at once because I couldn't get to it before the first meeting. So I read it all and I'm still like processing how do ghosts make tea? How they do it all this stuff? How can she be bitten by this little boy? I don't get it. So I mean I do, but I don't. So I don't if I had a favorite character, I did like I can't think of her name, the maid or
Frederica.
yes, that she would like stack stuff.
Yes.
Uh I kind of looked at that as like she's trying to control something
Yes.
because it feels a lot of things feel uncontrollable and she's like, how about just putting the furniture all the way up? Why not?
She became my
So
favorite character, very much so.
yeah.
Very much so. I understand. How about you, Jameson?
I think that I liked Margaret immediately. And I liked her more when I figured out what was going on. I think that I don't know that I thought until they brought it up that maybe she was mentally unstable. I just assumed, oh, well, she's psychic because she can see them. And it made sense to me. But I think that I liked her, like her ability to I feel like her whole life she had been playing by the rules because of her marital situation. And she's like, if I just do these things, then everything will be okay. And she was finally in a place where she could look at him and say, if you just play by the rules, everything will be okay. And he was like, no. Um, and I mean, I don't know. And the point where she's like, okay, you can do whatever you need to do to me, but I'm going to protect my child. I was like, no, she is my favorite. I love her, but I did love Frederica. I thought she was cute.
Yes. So I, at the beginning, was really worried about her. But as it went on, I couldn't figure out, well, this is really happening, or this is symbolism for the way that she's living her life. Either way, I'm down for her. So I really started pulling for her. And so I get that completely. I love that she's stuck with, if you followed this way, everything would be okay, but you won't. So if you got to go, go. How about you, Emily?
All right, y'all are gonna hate me. I liked Hal.
No,
Oh
you shut
yes.
the front
Oh
door.
yes.
Why?
100%. Because it was very predictable for me. So I knew he was in the basement from the get-go. Every time they kept saying he's down there, I knew they were talking about him. And he just disappears, but nobody knows where he is. He went into the basement. He's trying to like put an end to it. He tried to get her to leave with him because I mean maybe he was drinking. There was obviously that he was. I feel bad for Margaret for the abuse 100%, there in her behavior with like everybody said too. I mean, when you've been through abuse, you know the set of rules. If I do this, then this doesn't happen, or at least it won't be as bad. And so you play by those rules. But Hal was not going to kill her. He was going to try and kill Vale. That's how I read it. Yeah, that's how I read it. James is like, no. So I think he was trying to get her to leave with him because he said, "Leave with me. I'm leaving with or without you." Um, but I think he was trying to put an end to what was happening in the house, and so he wanted to try to essentially vanquish um, Vale. I think that he started to, just like I said, it reminds me of Amityville Horror. I think that he was also losing his mind through the process. We don't, unfortunately, because we don't get to see Hal's perspective, we don't get to see whether or not he was thinking she will smell the smoke and she'll get out if it's burning. Like, we don't know, but I liked the arc that is written into Hal. And I think that's why I liked his character, is because there is this whole, we see he seems like a perfectly nice guy, and then we see, oh, he's a drunk and he's abusive. Oh, he's cheated on her. And then we see, oh, well then, once he was sober and they were doing really well, and then they end up in the house, and then it's, the house is making him crazy and he wants to get out of the house and he wants her to come with him. And then he thinks, well, if I can just put an end to it, then everything will be okay. And he's not thinking clearly, no, but that is his intent, is to put an end to the evil and eliminate the evil that he sees is the house. Um, I didn't think she killed him, but um, I wasn't sure. Like, I didn't think she did, but I wasn't entirely sure at that one scene. But I didn't think she was crazy until that one scene towards the end. So I loved Margaret and I liked her arc, but I just felt that there seemed to be more effort put into Hal's arc without Hal even being on page. And as a writer, that is hard to do. And so I think that's why he ended up kind of one of
Mhm.
my favorite characters. I wouldn't say I had a favorite character, but I think I really liked the way that he was written without actually being on page, which is hard to do.
I find that side of it fascinating. My problem with him is she had to send her child away.
Hmm.
He would not lay hands on her. At
Right.
that,
While he was drunk. Well, and that's why I'm saying, like, his arc, what the
yeah,
reason why it's so fascinating to me is because at first you're seeing this and you just think, oh, okay, happy family, whatever. And then you learn all this other stuff and you're like, well, you're shit.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And then you see this end portion where, he's like, leave with me. Like, let's go. When the drinking's not happening, he's great.
yeah.
And so I saw that whole, and I don't know, I was just fascinated by his arc. I
No,
think,
I get that appeal. I get that appeal. I get him trying to get her away from there. We don't know what maybe he didn't like sharing her with the ghost. He didn't want her, he isolated her. He didn't want her to have
yeah,
any friends with her sister or any other friends. I have a problem with him, a big problem. Like I probably would have killed him when he got near my child. We would have never made it to this house. He would have been
well,
dead.
I
But
didn't
I
leave
do get
my
the
mine.
end. I do. I get that. I do. And I have respect for you putting yourself out there and giving validity to why he has good attributes. So I don't
Yeah.
hate you for it at all.
No, I would have murdered him. I will be honest. I mean, I divorced my abusive ex, so I would have murdered him. But as a character, I think he has a great arc as a character on page.
Cool. Very cool. How about you, Beans?
Frederica was my favorite character. I love her philosophy that if something's going wrong, you just need a warm drink and it'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I get that too. A warm cup of tea. How about you, Aaron?
Um, I still really like Edie, but this time Margaret definitely grew on me. I just really like the first part of the book. I had a lot of trouble, giving her any credit. I just thought that she was like, going through the motions of life, and that's just who she was. But then, the story where the part of the story where she actually like stuck up for Catherine and like that part killed me. And I was like, okay, you're going to like you can't stick up for yourself, but you'll do anything. You'll like, stick up for your child at least. That made me really like her. And then at the end, where like the police were questioning her and she was like really started to think she was crazy. And she's like, well, do crazy people's houses look like this? And they're like, yeah. Do crazy people hurt their family? Sometimes, yeah. And then she's like, maybe I really am crazy. And then whenever they started hearing, I think, what did it, they hear roaring or something first? That was like the first sign. And I'm like, here we go. This is really getting good. And then she was so brave and she was able to like stick up for herself and stick up for the ghost and stick up for everybody and like, fight the bad guy, the evil. And I was like, yes, she can kick butt. Like now she's herself again.
I love that
Hopefully.
too. I love
So,
that too. I was really, really scared that she was going to allow them to gaslight her.
yeah.
And that she wasn't going to be able to speak for herself. I mean, she was under pure exhaustion. She wasn't sure. She couldn't even stand anymore at one point. I really loved how she redeemed herself. And Stephanie put in the a very interesting comment. So this was written by a psychologist. She's a psychologist. Is that right? Is that what it says? Oh, that's very cool. No wonder there's so many layers here. And because for me, the whole time I just kept getting hit like, whoa. The way the house was abusing her is very similar to the way that her husband abused her and like the way she was sorting it out and everything that explains so much. Um, so at this point, I did ask you guys for a little bit of show and tell. So as a group, we can bond more. You absolutely do not have to share. These are both hard questions and make you vulnerable. But if you would like to, I would love to know your thoughts or your experiences on your own mental health issues, somebody else that you've known that experienced mental health issues, or paranormal. Something that was very surreal, like visceral to you, and not like you saw a shadow, but like something that really like stuck with you that you've held with you your whole life, type of thing. And then we can start back down with Victoria. I do know you had a house like that. Like we do know that part.
Yeah, this book got me like doing a whole like side quest into poltergeist activity and like mental like the mental health aspects of it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this book was definitely a lot more feasible at the end. I also like I see the comments in the chat about like wanting to stop when it seemed like it was just going to be that she was crazy, and I totally get that, and I'm with you on that. Um, but yeah, this was it really threw me for a loop. It got me thinking a lot about my childhood and like the stuff I went through. But it also got me like on this like side quest of just researching this kind of stuff in general again.
It really did for it being a scary, spooky book. I really thought Tiff was taking us on a horror ride, very much to what Jameson's Chainsaw book was. Yeah, My Heart is a Chainsaw. I thought it was going to be like that. This was so much more. There's a lot of feelings here, like, but there, it's yeah. Tiff, how about you? Have you had an experience similar to this, like with somebody mentally yourself or like paranormally?
Not paranormally, no. I would really like to. Should I say that out
You
loud?
can
Am I
say that.
asking for
You
that?
totally, and this is a safe space, and you're talking to a witch. So
I mean, I kind of would like, I mean, nothing too bad. I don't want like Mr. Vale coming out of the basement, but like, I don't know, like Frederica or something would be cool. Um, I think as far as like mental illness, like I see a lot of the chat comments that are like, oh, I just didn't want her to be crazy. And I think like I can really relate to what she went through and how she went through it. I was finally diagnosed as bipolar in 2016, but I had had lots and lots of symptoms of bipolar, and I just didn't put the pieces together, and it was other things, like I always just chalked it up to other things. So that was kind of how I thought about it with her too. I'm glad that the paranormal piece was real because like I thought that the whole story was well written, so it was cool that there was that tie-in. But like I just saw a lot of like, oh well, if you find yourself trying to like force pieces to fit and the answer not be, oh, I have this problem with, myself. Um, until you get to the point where you're like, okay, this really is a problem that I have. So
yeah,
that was kind of for me how I really related to her journey. And yeah, I'm glad that she wasn't uh totally off the deep end. I think she does have some mental health issues that she probably needs to work through, especially just from the trauma she experienced even before she moved into the house. So, yeah.
I agree. Her threshold, well, first, thank you so much for being so vulnerable, but her bullshit meter of being able to deal with such an extreme amount of just absolute insanity and enduring it with rules, it really signifies to me something's not going on cognitively in the way that it should. Um, but yes, I do understand the mental illness thing, where you're coming from. I'm not bipolar, but I do have anxiety so bad. And sometimes life just keeps trotting along and you just don't have the time to be like, I gotta like take a big pause here and fix this. It's just you get lost in just trying to get through, just trying to survive. I'm so glad that you got your diagnosis though. I mean,
Yeah. I
yeah,
think like the rules too. Like
yes,
I really related to like following the rules because I'm like, well, because I would kind of start to figure out things that would trigger me or affect me. And I was like, okay, well, if I get, this much sleep, like I'll be okay. Or like if I just don't deal with this stressful thing because it's going to be too much for me. Like I feel the rules because you're like, well, I can alleviate some of these symptoms if I just follow these set things.
Yes, the rules come from cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's where we all kind of start if we go to therapy. They give you a list of things to keep you mentally well. But sometimes those rules don't always keep us safe if something's chemically unbalanced. So I get that. I use them too. How about you, Tara? Do you have anything paranormal or psychologically that really touched you here or reminded you of something?
I am just now starting my mental health journey. So,
Some.
yeah, my whole family, we've all struggled with depression, everything. It completely. So, every time she doubts herself, and it's kind of, especially towards the end when she was just beating up on herself, is this really how people act in this situation? Could this be me? Very relatable.
Yes, yes. I commend you for starting it. It's scary. It's the hardest part, I think, is just to get started. But once you get going, as as challenging as it is, there's reward. So I'm here if you ever want somebody to cheer with you along in that because it's not always easy, but it's worth it. Stephanie, I do know the emotional side a little bit, but I don't know of anything paranormal, and I'd love for you to share with others anything on the mental health side.
So, like Tiff, I have bipolar 1, and how I found out was my first semester at Ohio University. I had a psychotic break. It was just too much pressure. And they told me that's usually when that happens would be if there's just too much pressure going on. So I've been medicated for like 15 years or something. But there's a and I also have borderline personality disorder, but I've been working on that. My mom, she had major depressive disorder, and she had tried to kill her or sorry, she had tried to off herself, you know, a lot, unfortunately. So I grew up seeing that, and she was cutting. I had self harm behaviors too for a little while, and then I started getting help. So I commend anybody that is getting help on their mental health journey because it's well worth it to take good care of yourself the best you can. It really is. And as for paranormal, my uncle had this old house with his roommate, and the basement was creepy as heck. And my cousin and a few of us, we were trying to do a seance. That was not a good idea. And what happened was we ended up seeing a white specter basically. And I just dove down the stairs. Everybody got out before me out of the bedroom, and I just dove down those stairs. It wasn't anything scary, but it was just kind of weird because you weren't expecting it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do want to tell everyone I've known you before your therapy for BPD and after, and it is completely the evolution of the person that you've become is just absolutely incredible. I cannot tell you how proud I am of you, how different it's just you deal with life so much differently, and it is commendable. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Robin, how about you?
Well, gosh, I could talk all day about both of these things. So I will just skip right to, I will just tell you probably the most meaningful paranormal thing that has happened to me. So I grew up in a house that was built by my great grandparents, and my grandmother, my grandmother grew up in that house as well. And so one night but my great grandmother passed away when I was 4. And so one night when I was going to bed, I was probably about maybe 8 or 9. And my my dad's office was right at the bottom of the stairs. And he was usually in there and then working at night. And then we would be like in the family room. So my mom would always say, you know, go tell your dad good night and then go up to bed. And so I went into that room, but my dad wasn't there. But I saw like feet at the very top of the stairs. So like we had one of those like where the railing goes and then the floor. So I just saw these feet going up at the top of the stairs. And so I started up the stairs thinking he must have gone upstairs. Well, when I got up there, there was no one there. And I heard him downstairs. And so I went back down and was like, Dad? And he's like, oh yeah. And he had been in our dining room. And he was like coming out of the dining room. And I was like, oh, I thought you went upstairs. And then that night I dreamed that my great grandmother like was talking to me, and she was saying like she was really sad that she didn't get to watch me grow up and that she had passed away when I was so young. And like that has stayed with me like my whole life. And that's probably the first time I ever saw anything paranormal. But I have seen things many times in my life in many different places. And so I think I'm just one of those people that's like close or attuned or whatever to that realm.
Wow. They say oftentimes they will, a passed on loved one will come and visit you in your sleep, and you may be a seer, is what we typically call them in my community, where you can kind of like the veil is a little thinner for you. I do want to make a very important point here. Emily is kind of like our wise one, reminding us to be safe. And I do want to really say it out loud because not everybody can read the chat, and especially people who watch this back. Basically, just saying if you're going to use things like tarot or Ouija boards or psychics or anything in that realm, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I think we put a lot of taboo and a lot of negativity. However, she's right. When you open a door, you don't necessarily know what's going to come through that door, and it isn't always good. So if you are going to open it, know how to close it and know how to cleanse yourself. I even told Erin before she went on a ghost hunt, sage yourself before and after, take off all of your amulets, all of your jewelry, go in just a t-shirt and jeans. There's a safe way to do it, but I do encourage it. I'm not going to say that it's bad. It's just there's a safe way. So thank you, Emily, for always being wise and trying to keep us safe. I really appreciate that. Udi, how about you?
So I'm with Tara. I am just now starting my mental health journey. I am adopted, so I didn't know a lot of things that have been passed down from my birth family. And my birth mother is BPD, manic, depression, all that. Addiction runs deep in our family. So I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been I quit smoking a year and a half ago. I was a smoker for over 20 years. I started at 11. And so I don't really know where I am in my mental health. I just know something's not right. I've been on antidepressants when I got into healthcare. So I've been on those for almost 8 years now. And I don't know what I would do without them because it has definitely changed my perspective. And I know that there's something deeper in there. I lost one of my rats last week, and it put me into a deep rut. And we got more rats. And I did. We got 3 baby girls. I have 2 names. One is Aurora and one is Timu the cheap shit. And then we have a little black girl that we don't know what to name her yet. She has a Y on her cheek, so I'm thinking something with a Y maybe. And I was so happy, right? And they are all acclimated. They're all in each other's cage together. They're all sleeping and getting along peacefully. No squeaks, nothing. Best like combination I could have ever gone, right? Why am I getting sad? Why am I slowly going down? I should be happy, but I'm not. I don't know what's wrong. So I now have insurance and I am going to look into that and see if maybe I do have the bipolar manic depression that I got from my brother.
I wouldn't rush your grief.
Yes.
I cried. I did not even know the rats. Okay. I cried. It was sad for me. So your sadness is valid and you don't have to rush yourself to heal through it just because you got something new. In fact, I didn't know you got the new babies, and I went and saw pumpkin
Yeah.
tonight, and there was a little tiny mouse, like stuffed mouse in the pumpkin. I took a picture for you. So
Really
please
cool.
don't push yourself to heal faster than you need to. Allow yourself to mourn. But I am glad that you are looking into it.
Yes.
That's
We
good.
actually, the paranormal thing, I have tons of paranormal stuff, but we just went to an angel healing. Um, it's a angelic Reiki. And dude, it was so amazing. We did it, what's today? Today's Sunday. We did it Thursday night.
Wonderful.
And my brain went silent. My brain doesn't go silent. And I it was just like all those negative thoughts about me and myself and everything around me just wiped when
That's
she
beautiful.
freaking did her freaking snap healing and whatever, and she talks to angels, and she made me a believer, dude. It's been since then, and I haven't had really a negative thought.
Do more of that. Stay in the light. That's another way you can close doors on these things.
And
Sometimes
that's
you
what
have to have a
I
guided
want to do.
healer. Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I know I missed you guys last week.
I missed you too. How about you, Melissa?
I don't have too much paranormally to share, but mental health, I have a very extensive mental health history in my family. My grandfather was a very severe paranoid schizophrenic to the point where he passed in jail in 2019 from COVID, but he was a convicted murderer based on his delusions. My mom was very bipolar and she was really resistant to medication treatment, so she self-medicated with drugs and alcohol. Um, so I was very in tune with mental health, like as I got older and wanting to make sure mine was taken care of. And that's kind of why I work in mental health crisis now to help people who kind of are struggling and need that extra support from someone who understands and has been there. But I just have anxiety, which can be pretty rough. But I always, in the back of my mind, worried about like, hey, when I was coming up on those waves, am I gonna get the schizophrenic trait? Am I gonna be like my mom, who was bipolar with psychotic features? Um, but nothing paranormal. That would have probably been better, to be honest.
I agree. I would rather deal with paranormal any day than mental health. I'd rather have a bleeding
Yeah,
house than any kind of my mental health crap. I do want to commend you that taking some pain and turning it into something really beautiful and making a career out of it and helping people. So thank you for doing that. That's
thank
a
you.
big, big deal. It takes a special person. How about you, Leslie?
I've not had any paranormal experience, unfortunately. Um, but I'm open to ghost hunts and things like that, but nobody will go with me. So we might have to get together and go. But as mental health, as I get older, I know things are breaking down, I guess.
Mhm.
You know, I have to learn to put up barriers. I have to say no. I have to have to turn off the TV or have to hang up the phone. I do have a friend who is battling alcoholism right now, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah.
They do have Al-Anon meetings that you can go to online for free if you
Oh,
go to
wow.
Al-Anon. Yeah, and you don't have to be on camera. It can be just like this
Yeah.
if you ever want support in that way for people who understand, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. It is a lot. It's hard. How
It's so
about
hard.
you, Leah?
I have not had any paranormal experiences, and because I started reading horror when I was about, I think about in the fifth grade, I am very respectful of it. I don't want to open any doors, keeping them shut all the time as much as I can. So I don't have anything there. But as far as mental health, I have history, and some parts of this book, I think I gave this book 4 stars, but it was I didn't love it sometimes because of being able to relate to multiple characters. Uh, so yeah, I probably should have started therapy long before I did, but I've been in it for a long time and it's phenomenal. If anybody is if you're thinking about it, yes, do it. It is so worth it. And I finally got on medication, and that is, yeah, I don't know where I'd be without it. It's very good.
It takes a certain amount of bravery to take a medicine that you're not sure exactly what's going to happen. So I commend that. Anybody who takes the risk, I'm all behind you and here if it's hard. Jameson, I know a little bit about your um thing, but I would want to know more.
I feel like you said it. I would rather deal with paranormal every single day than deal with the mental crap. I've been to a lot of therapy to deal with the mental crap, and I feel like, um, they're like, "Oh, you're borderline." I'm like, "Great. What do I take for that?" And they're like, "Well, have some more therapy," which, in the long run was great. And then, there's the ADHD, but I feel like I'm so used to living with those that it's just second nature. It's just who I am and what I do now. Um, but for me, the paranormal stuff is almost the same way. My mom used to accuse me first she thought that I had imaginary friends, and then she said, "You need to stop making up stories. You're scaring your brother." I've just been able to see things as long as I can remember. And I don't always tell people because then everyone's like, "Oh, well, can you talk to my grandma?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, no." Because then it's like an open phone line all the time. And it's just like, okay, I need y'all to go. And just, I don't really want to talk to everyone. Um, and, I know everyone wants to, and especially like the people that didn't get a chance to say goodbye, but like, yes, they love you. Yes, they're proud of you. Yes, they want you to be happy. Like it's always the same thing. And my best friend and I, that's one of our things. Like we go on these ghost hunts. Like we've been to Bobby Mackey's. We've been to Mansfield. We're going to Trans Allegheny and the West Virginia Penitentiary for my birthday.
Which
So
is
like we
huge,
just,
Miss
yeah,
Scorpion. Uh-huh.
yeah. So I love it. I've always loved it. I've always been fascinated by it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It never seemed weird to me, like that it was there. And it struck me as more weird that people didn't believe me when I said, "Okay, so I see this thing." And they looked at me like, stop me. At least they didn't say I was crazy, but it was usually stop making up stories. So I just stopped telling them that I saw the things.
It's challenging, especially when you have something like BPD that's like a personality disorder, and then on top of that, you're a seer. I can see how that would be convoluted, but I knew that you had some type of ability because we've seen the same thing in the same room before. I'm just really curious to see what you share, and thank you so much for being so vulnerable. And you've come so far with the BPD, which is not easy. It's just a lifelong challenge, and it's wonderful to see you function as best as you do. It's very admirable. How about you, Emily?
Oh, that's a can of worms. Um, well, most of you know by now I'm autistic, so that's why I have all the info dump and all of the little bits of information about everything. So thanks for not making me mask. Um, so I have that, but most people don't know. I have actually had a lot of experiences with paranormal or whatever I mean, however you want to classify it. The first time I specifically remember was when I was 4. Um, that was my first encounter, and I remember, and it was an angel in the corner of my room. So ever since then, there have been times that I've seen things. I got married on the Queen Mary, out in California, and the ship is. I have definitely had quite a few occurrences. People touch me, pull my hair, talk to me. The Lizzie Borden house was a fun one. That was the attic is interesting. If you haven't been and you go in up into that attic space, they'll tell you it was just a storage space when they lived there. But there is definitely, if you are a feeler or a seer, you'll see stuff or feel stuff in there. It can be quite hard to breathe in there. Mansfield was fun. Yeah. That particular occurrence was kind of interesting because I didn't really see something in that moment, but I definitely felt it. We were up on one of the, in front of some of the cells in one of the cell blocks. And I was standing next to one of the cells, and my friend had walked in, and I didn't want to go in, and she was like, just step in. And so I stepped in for the photo, and I was just like, I need to get out because I just felt like the whole side of my body was on fire. Like my skin was literally red on one side. And I got out, and that was when my other friend was standing next to the wall, and they have the plaque on the wall that says that a guy actually burned in that cell. I had not seen a sign. My friend was just like, come on, no, come in. And I walked around the corner and went in and had that complete. And my whole side of my body was just beet red for a good 20 minutes. And it was just, yeah. So I've had quite a few occurrences. That's why I say, like, you should never open a door that you don't know how to close. Um, if you ever want interesting experiences, hang out with me because I see them all the time, day in and day out. So
I guess
yeah, and I agree with Jameson. You don't want the open phone line, so you often just kind of like you just ignore. Sometimes you can see and sometimes you can't. Sometimes you hear, sometimes you feel, sometimes you're poked, sometimes you're you know smacked on the butt. I've had that one. So yeah.
Yeah, I know. And Erin, how about you? I know this is something that fascinates you. I know it's something that's near and dear to your heart. Do you want to share that or anything about the mental health? I also know that you do have some anxiety.
Yeah, the my mental health journey is just beginning. I was sort of raised in a family that you just toughen up. You don't cry about it. Like just get over it and move on. So actually processing my feelings is really hard for me and overcoming anxiety. So yeah, it's whatever. I don't want to go down that road because it's still emotional for me, but working through it slowly. But yeah, the paranormal issue, it's like so exciting to me because I 100% believe in the paranormal, and I don't think that your physical body is the end. When your body doesn't work anymore, I think that your soul is free. What happens, I don't exactly know, but I would like to find out someday. Um, but yeah, lots. I don't really have a lot of personal experiences, a handful, and I am sort of an amateur ghost hunter. I just recently started, but I would like to go to more places and, try to find like evidence. I know so much of it can be debunked, but the first thing that ever happened to me that really got me interested in it was my dad lives in Iowa, and he lives in a really old farmhouse. And like they have had other people have had lots of experiences there. But I was with my stepmom And my little sister, she's about 10 years younger than me. So she was just an infant. My stepmom and I were outside hanging clothes up on the line because that's what you do in a really old Iowa farmhouse. And she said, go inside and check on your sister because she was sleeping in her crib. So when I got inside, I was just starting to go up the steps and I could hear someone singing the ABCs. And I was like, what in the world is that? But I was so curious, but also a little bit scared. So I like crept up the steps really quietly and I could hear it still and all the way back the hallway. And I don't know how I got so brave because I don't even know now at 36 if I would be this brave, but I like crept down the hallway and I like jumped around the corner. And as soon as I jumped around the corner, it just stopped. And I was like, what in the world? I couldn't, but I was too scared to tell anybody. So I didn't tell anybody for like, I don't know, a year or so. And my dad was like, oh, that girl, we think anyway, she's here all the time. Her name is Jillian. She actually spoke with somebody before. Like my grandma said, um, she was sitting in the kitchen and this little girl with long red hair and a white dress walked into the kitchen and she said, what's your name? And the little girl said, Jillian. And then she walked into the bathroom and she was gone. So they think it's the same girl anyway, because she's been seen before, like outside standing by a tree. And then my dad said that he would hear a little girl singing the ABCs or, you know, saying, Mama, Mama. So I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, it's exciting. I like to research it. I like to watch ghost shows, and someday I'm gonna see one with my own eyes.
Um, well, I think on the mental health front, everybody knows that I'm batshit crazy, and just absolutely off my rocker and attract many wonderful other people who are okay being in that space. I think we all kind of share a little bit of that okayness with being strange and unusual. I will leave you with this because you both, everyone has expressed interest in the Mansfield prison. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I was with somebody for 12 years. Her name was Stacy Mullen. Her parents' name are Bill and April Mullen. They own the rights to the Shawshank Redemption movie and part of the Mansfield prison. I never believed in the paranormal, even though I come from a long line of witches. And so they worked at the Mansfield prison because of the Shawshank stuff and were there all the time. Their house got severely haunted. I'm talking like severe demonic presence. Still didn't believe, still told my fiance of 12 years that the ceiling falling on her and these ghosts apparating to her was just like she was going to be protected by the people that she loved on the other side. Until I got attacked by something and it attached itself to me and is still with me now. I can't get rid of it. He lives in my house. He just won't go away. We've done everything we can. It's almost an exorcism at this point. So, if you do wander around Mansfield Prison, please take every precaution that you possibly can not to carry anything home with you. Because he's not a fun person to stay with. He really isn't, and he's affected everyone that's been in this house. So, go ahead, Aaron.
One more thing I wanted to say is because I went to the Mansfield prison 2 times now. And remember the first time when I came home after you had told me, like protect yourself, something happened, like that's a scary place. I came home and for like 2 weeks straight, every single night I would wake up at 3:33.
I wake up
3:33. 3:33. And I even told Billy, like, what is going on every single night? Okay. Well, it happened for quite a while. I guess maybe it was probably more than 2 weeks. And I went back like a month later and it never happened again. So Cody said, I don't know if it's true, and it could be. He's like, maybe something came home with us, and 3:33 is like the sensitive hour. And then I went back and it stayed there. I don't know. It just thought it
Maybe
was
you
such a
took it
weird
back.
coincidence. Yeah.
Maybe
And
I
I've
should
been
go and drop this dude off.
yeah, I've been meaning to tell you that, but I forgot. It like slipped my mind.
I've not been back since. I'm gonna see if I can get him and go home. So I have the quiz, the little thing I want to spin for you guys, that we did for everybody that took the quiz and came. Can you guys see it? The little spinner? Good. Okay, let's go ahead and roll it. and it's your book. Oh, how cool. Yay. Oh no, it's Tara. Oh my God, it's Tara. I thought it was Tiff. I'm so sorry. Tara, absolutely. Okay, we will I will be in contact. Melissa also, I'll be in contact about your address. And then the only other thing is that this is what we're going to be meeting on next week. And I will post how far to read. Does anybody have any questions or concerns before we go? Okay, thank you all so much for a wonderful meeting, being so open and loving and sharing, and for Tiff picking the September house, and for Stephanie choosing this one. I'm so excited, and all my love and light. Stay safe, stay well. Message me if you need somebody to talk to about the paranormal or mental health. Bye-bye.